Affrina.
Hi Amelia.
Are you busy right now?
No, I'm not.
May I ask you a little bit of our former Prime Minister Tun Hussein Onn about his background and history?
Of course, yes. Please have a seat first.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, you want to know about Tun Hussein Onn?
Yeah.
Okay, I will explain to you about the background first. Tun Hussein Onn is known as the father of unity. Tun Hussein Onn was born on 12 February 1922 in Johor Bahru. He was the only son to Datuk Onn Jaafar and Datin Halimah Hussein. He received his primary education in Singapore and at English College in Johor Bahru. He was the third Prime Minister of Malaysia, leading the country.
More about Tun Hussein Onn background to me. Thank you, Dean.
Most welcome.
Hello, Affrina.
Hi Amelia.
Are you busy today?
No, not really.
Since yesterday you just explained to me about Tun Hussein Onn background, can today you explain me a little bit of his contribution towards Malaysia?
It's essential to ensure that the concepts turn into a reality, especially in Southeast Asia. As indicated by Tun Hussein Onn, all the great powers should not interfere in conflicts that have arisen in the Southeast Asian region. On the off chance that this is to be done, neutral nations will appear as the third power which serve to balance out the interests of the great powers with developing nations. Tun Hussein Onn stepped up with regards to engaging the Soviet Union using the influence of the nation to discover arrangement in Indochina. On 25 to 26 February 1976, Malaysia and other ASEAN nations held the summit of the ASEAN Head of State in Bali. This conference is vital on the grounds that it effectively underscores the dedication of ASEAN nations to the Bandung Assertion, the Bangkok Declarations, and the Zopfan Declaration, as well as the Charter of the United Nations. Through this conference, all ASEAN members of nations were focused on enhancing the peace, flourishing, success, and thriving of ASEAN nations through the adjustment of the political atmosphere in Southeast Asian district. ASEAN collectively demonstrate united stance in political and security dimensions. Through the Bali Declaration, ASEAN nations set political solidarity by supporting a direct viewpoint, organizing position, and making a move as long as it is certain. ASEAN should also impose steps leading to the acknowledgement and execution of the Zopfan concept, which has launched in Kuala Lumpur on November 27, 1971. In the era of Tun Hussein Onn, ASEAN has experienced a transition from a more collective point of actions in managing issues. Another imperative part of the communist traits in the member states. All ASEAN member states are anti-communist states, but ASEAN nations are not anti in coordinating relations with communist countries. Domestic communist traits are regarded as internal affairs of each country. Individual ASEAN countries are faced with communist traits in different ways and tactics. The development of international politics, particularly the circumstance of Indochina, Tun Hussein Onn demanded to put special emphasis on defense aspect of non-communist countries in Southeast Asia. Tun Hussein Onn, who relates with his identity as a military officer, observed every political development in Indochina as an alarming matter. The inclusion of the two communist powers of the Soviet Union and China is in non-stop and will defy Zopfan's idea. There are a few issues that have emerged in the era of Tun Hussein Onn which also affected Malaysia's reactions on the region unstable political environment after the end of the Vietnam War and the beginning of the crisis in Indochina. This also affects the continuations of Malaysia's neutrality policy on defense aspects such as Vietnam and China conflicts, Vietnam and Cambodia conflicts, Vietnam and Russia's intimate ties, and Vietnam interventions on Cambodia. So, Amelia, you know the conflict between Vietnam and China?
No, I don't know. Can you tell me more about it?
The conflict between Vietnam and China. The tense atmosphere between these two nations has developed because of a few issues. To be specified, first, conflicts on the delineations of China has attacked and occupied some areas in Vietnam. Second, the issues of Chinese in Vietnam, and the third issues of the different stance in response to the conflict between Cambodia and Vietnam. All these issues are seen as thorns in bilateral relations of Vietnam and have the privilege to decide their own legislature without being affected by any power. So that's all the explanations about the contributions of Tun Hussein Onn in the aspect of defense. The next contributions will be explained by Amelia.
That's so a lot about a little bit contribution of Tun Hussein Onn. I feel like I'm in that history day. So thank you, Affrina, for explaining to me.
The most welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Shafiqin Sulaiman, and today I will discuss about the contribution of Tun Hussein Onn in the perspective of welfare. Okay, next, the next contribution of Tun Hussein Onn is in welfare. Our third Prime Minister of Malaysia was known as a gentle and calm person that really concerned on the matter of the welfare of his country and well-being of his citizens. This also can be proven after his own resignation on 1981 due to illness and coronary bypass on the same year. He still continued to contribute into welfare for his country. This can be supported when the third Prime Minister of Malaysia was very committed in setting up and building of Tun Hussein Onn Eye Hospital. He realized that it was important of having eye hospital that provide professional eye care to the public, to educate people from having any blindness and to avoid people from losing their vision. The services of this hospital are improved in time by time as they were focusing on training, research and subspecialty clinics that started to establish more. Thus, the establishment of this hospital really helped to increase the quality life of people. Moreover, Tun Hussein Onn really concerned and gave serious consideration about the idea and principles of Rukun Tetangga. Rukun Tetangga is known as a neighborhood watch scheme. The purpose of this scheme is to promote and develop communities in the country. Thus, it plays a crucial role because our country, Malaysia, is made up of people from different races, culture and religion. Through this scheme, citizens will improve their life by living in harmony and unity, which also will bring good to the country. Thus, based on all of the points given, it is undeniable of the contribution of Tun Hussein Onn in welfare for Malaysia. Okay, that's all from me. I will pass my next point to my friend. Thank you.
Amelia,
Yes?
can you please have a moment?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Why?
I just want to ask you about the next contribution of Tun Hussein Onn. Can you please explain to me?
Contribution Tun Hussein Onn. Oh, of course, I will. So the second contribution of Tun Hussein Onn during his premiership towards our country, Malaysia, is in economic growth. According to the Malaysian Bar 2007, during Tun Hussein Onn Premiership 1976 to 1981, Malaysia was recorded 40% of economic growth in just 2 years after he took place the position of Tun Abdul Razak, the second Prime Minister. This father of unity introduced the National Unit Trust, or known as Amanah Saham Nasional or ASN scheme in 1981, where this scheme will focus to help to restore the Bumi Putra's place in the economy by transferring the government-owned shares, and this scheme also been controlled by Permodalan Nasional Berhad, or also known as PNB. Instead of that, this scheme not only works to protect the Bumi Putra interests, it also make PNB become an organization for the government that has power to control both local and foreign, that allow Bumi Putra active participate at the stock market. However, Tun Hussein Onn also never forget the other races' welfare. He later evolved Amanah Saham Wawasan and putting other races under it. On the other hand, the new economic policy NEP that been introduced by the former second Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak being continued by the father of unity. He was not only continuing the policy, instead of that, he make the implementation of the policy become stronger by enforcement the system of NEP. Through this enforcement, new law has been passed, which is known as Industrial Coordination Act (ICA). The purpose of this act are to provide for the coordination and orderly development of manufacturing in Malaysia, which this is plays a vital role to protect from any economy of manufacturing and development being conquered by other races besides Malays and Bumi Putra, and it also to stabilize the ratio of the participation of different races in the different types of economy, so that there is no issue on one races conquer in one industry, and anyone who violating this provision would be subject to a fine not exceeding 2,000 ringgit or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months, and to a further fine not exceeding 1,000 ringgit for every day during which such default continues, as according to Section 3 of this Act. This Act functioned as the extended of the NEP, which required any businesses regarding of manufacturing or development must apply for the business license from the government as a part of the procedure. This effort shows on how Tun Hussein Onn committed to give wider chances and opportunity to Malays and Bumi Putra better in the economy, and to tighten the gap and minimize the percentage of poverty of the people on that time, as what is stated in Nobuyuki Yasuda article in 1991. The most interesting about this achievement in the economy during his premiership in Malaysia is when the establishment of Permodalan Nasional Berhad PNB on 17 March 1978, when on that time the position of chairman was held by Tun Ismail. The establishment of PNB has a strong connection to the above policy and act. It plays as an instrument in NEP on how government conduct the policy effectively. PNB function as to promote ownership in the corporate sector among Bumi Putra, and to provide qualified Bumiputra professionals to participate in the creation and management of property. As according to PNB official website, the continuation of the Declaration of United Nations on the NIEO issued in 1976 at the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development UNCTAD 4 has set up a comprehensive overall program, namely the Integration Program for Commodities (IPC). Furthermore, IPC's objective is to establish and maintain commodity prices at a level where real conditions are balanced and profitable to consumers or producers, taking into account global inflationary conditions. As a person who took the regional economic cooperation very seriously, Tun Hussein Onn also concentrating the economic cooperation in the aspect of foreign policy within the framework of ASEAN. The ASEAN Agreement Declaration has set a new vehicle for the ASEAN Economic Ministers' regular meeting to formulate recommendations, strengthen ASEAN economic cooperation, and conduct assessment on ASEAN projects and exchange ideas and consultation on national development planning policies as a step toward regional development harmonization. The above points shows that Tun Hussein Onn's economic era was so consistent in establishing close cooperation with ASEAN member states. In addition, besides from ASEAN, the Commonwealth is also being used as a way that can linking to the countries that developing and develop in terms of economy, as well as the foreign policy that been practiced during Tun Abdul Razak era. This father of unity also fought for the restructuring of the international economy system. This was reflected in his speech at the Commonwealth Government in London on 10 June 1977 on the position and prospect of the world economy, as according in the article written by Faridah Jaafar. So Affrina, do you want to see the ASNB logo?
Yeah, sure, I want.
So I will show it. This is actually the official of the logo, and this is the variety of the Amanah Saham Nasional, which is been variety in Bumiputra for Bumis, for Nasional, for private sector. So this is this.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So I think that's all for the second contribution of Tun Hussein on economic growth. So next one will be presented by my other friends. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shaki'rah and I will discuss the next point, which is fights corruption. Tun Hussein Onn is a person who is very dedicated and a lawful person. That is why when the incident of corruption happens in front of his eye, he decided to get involved to punish all the people who should get punished. That is because he is a very strict person, and as a person who studies law, he used all his knowledge about law to make a good judgment. We can see this from the incident that involved Datuk Harun, which at that time was the Menteri Besar of Selangor. The real issue came out when the Pergerakan Pemuda UMNO at that time took a loan from Bank Rakyat Malaysia that is valued for many millions ringgit. They used the money for funding the coming of the world famous boxer Muhammad Ali to Malaysia at that time. This has led to the accusation of corruptions and breach of trust that has been questioned by so many people. According to Ku Halim, after being investigated and questioned by the court, Datuk Harun has found guilty. However, Datuk Harun was one of the important figure in UMNO at that time and was hoping that UMNO will get
him free from the accusation of being guilty. However, based on Hasnan Halim, due to the strict personality of Tun Hussein Onn, he as the Prime Minister and the President of UMNO at that time decided to abide by the judgment of the court and did not let himself or UMNO to get involved of the incident. That is because he really respects the result that have been stated. After incident happened, any corruptions or breach of trust that has been committed by any of the officers, Tun Hussein Onn will do some changes in the position of the office. Doesn't matter whether it is involve the state level or some high position in the government. Anyone who did wrong will be punished, and those who found guilty will be given a political protection by the government that has been led by the Tun Hussein Onn. Thank you.